On a spring morning in Boston, Olivia Hartwell was preparing breakfast in her apartment kitchen, surrounded by the aroma of coffee. The soft light streaming through the window made her engagement ring sparkle on the kitchen table. Olivia smiled at the sight, reflecting on the events of the previous night. "How about having the wedding at Riverside Manor? Mom has already made a reservation for us." Victoria's voice bubbled with excitement on the other end of the phone. As one of Boston's premier luxury real estate agents, she wanted her daughter's wedding to reflect her own social standing with appropriate grandeur. "Mom, we haven't decided anything yet. I'll talk it over with Jason first," Olivia replied calmly. She worked as a caregiver at a local senior support center and valued warmth of heart over glamour. "Well, what is there to think about? It's the most wonderful venue in Boston. Catherine absolutely raves about it." Her mother mentioned her sister Catherine, a popular fashion influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers on social media who constantly chased the latest trends. "I know, but..." Olivia's words were interrupted by the doorbell. "Let's talk later, then." After hanging up, Olivia opened the door to find her fiancé, Jason Carter, standing there. He worked at the local fire station and was a man with a sturdy build but gentle eyes. "Good morning, beautiful bride-to-be," Jason said with a smile, kissing her forehead. "Your mother?" he asked, noticing the phone in Olivia's hand. "Yes, more talk about the wedding venue." Olivia sighed. "Mom always tries to decide things without asking for our opinion. She just wants her wonderful daughter to have the most wonderful wedding," Jason said generously. He understood the complexities of Olivia's family relationships. "But I was thinking about something else this morning," he said, looking into Olivia's eyes with a serious expression. "It's about Grandma Eleanor. I visited Silver Meadows yesterday, and I'm a bit worried about her." Olivia's eyes clouded. Her grandmother, Eleanor Fisher, was the most important person in her life. A former music teacher who had nurtured many students, Eleanor had also been Olivia's greatest supporter throughout her life. "What do you mean?" Dr. Grayson was there. According to him, Eleanor's health has deteriorated, and long-distance travel has become difficult for her. Olivia sank into a chair. Her grandmother had moved into the Silver Meadows nursing home 3 years ago when her legs had weakened. Even so, whenever Olivia visited, Eleanor would play the piano for her or share stories from the past, remaining surprisingly vibrant mentally. "Riverside Manor is more than a 2-hour drive away," Olivia murmured. "Yes. So I was thinking." Jason hesitated before continuing, "What if we had our wedding at Silver Meadows?" Olivia looked up in surprise. "At the nursing home?" "Yes. I can't imagine Eleanor not being able to see your wedding. I know how much she's looking forward to it." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes. Her grandmother had always said, "Seeing your happy wedding day is my dream." She had been estranged from her own daughter, Victoria, for years, and Olivia was her emotional support. "Jason." Olivia was too moved for words. "But Mom and Catherine will definitely object. No matter what they say, this is your and my wedding. It's our decision to make." Jason's voice was firm. Olivia took a deep breath and made up her mind. "You're right. It's our wedding." She stood up and took Jason's hand. "Let's have the wedding at Silver Meadows. For Grandma's sake, and for our own." "You can't be serious." Victoria Hartwell's voice echoed through the private dining room at the upscale restaurant, Le Chateau. It was right after Olivia and Jason had announced their plan to hold the wedding at the nursing home during a Sunday brunch with the family. A wedding at a nursing home. In such a place. Victoria lowered her voice, mindful of the surrounding eyes, but her tone remained unchanged. Catherine, sitting next to her, looked up from her smartphone with an expression of disbelief. "No way. I can't post that on Instagram." Olivia took a deep breath and responded calmly. "Given Grandma's health, we can't take her to the venue." We want Eleanor to see our special day. But I've already booked Riverside Manor. Victoria retorted. If you cancel, we won't get the deposit back. You made the reservation on your own, didn't you? Olivia said with a slightly stronger tone. This is what Jason and I have decided. It's our wedding. Listen, Olivia, Catherine interjected. Still clutching her smartphone, she began to explain as if talking to a child. A wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Silver Meadows it's not just a nursing home. It smells like medicine and... She wrinkled her nose, death. Catherine. Jason raised his voice. That's disrespectful. It's the truth, Catherine shrugged. What do you think my followers will say? They'll call it a poverty wedding or a despair wedding.
Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with Reddit Stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious.
Your followers' opinions don't matter to us, Jason said quietly but firmly. The rest of the meal passed in heavy silence. As they were parting, Victoria pulled Olivia's arm and whispered, think about this carefully. Don't do something that will embarrass the family. The activity room at Silver Meadows was bathed in afternoon sunlight. Olivia and Jason sat across from the facility director, Martha Johnson. A wedding. Here. Martha's face lit up with a smile. What a wonderful idea. Is it possible? Olivia asked hopefully. Of course. Actually, we occasionally have couples who want to hold weddings here, especially when a loved one is a resident. Martha looked at Olivia with kind eyes. Eleanor will be so happy. Really? Yes, our garden is most beautiful in spring. There's a pergola in the main courtyard, and the lounge can easily accommodate 50 people. Olivia and Jason exchanged glances, feeling their hopes rise. However, there's one thing I want to confirm. Martha's expression grew more serious. Have you heard about Eleanor's health condition from Dr. Grayson? Olivia nodded. We're planning the wedding here because we heard Grandma can't travel long distances. Martha hesitated before continuing. The situation might be a bit more complex than that. Olivia's heart began to beat faster at these words. Eleanor's condition may be more serious than we thought. Dr. Grayson is waiting for detailed test results, but... Martha was choosing her words carefully. I think you should meet with Eleanor directly and talk to her. Eleanor's room was filled with sheet music and books she had collected over the years. Family photos adorned the walls, many of them chronicling Olivia's growth. Eleanor sat at a small piano placed by the window. Olivia rushed to her grandmother and embraced her. Grandma, you look well. Well, at my age, the definition of, well, changes, Eleanor smiled. Her blue eyes hadn't lost their sparkle despite her advancing years. So, is there something special going on? Olivia glanced at Jason. They had come together. Grandma, about our wedding. Ah, the ceremony at that fancy place. Victoria was bragging about it on the phone. No, actually. Olivia sat beside her grandmother. We want to have the wedding here, at Silver Meadows. Eleanor's expression froze momentarily. Here. But why? Because we want you to see our wedding. I can't imagine having a wedding without you there. Tears welled up in Eleanor's eyes. Oh, you too. She took out a handkerchief and wiped her eyes. But what about Victoria and Catherine? We've already told them, Olivia shook her head. They opposed it, of course. Eleanor sighed deeply. Those girls, always concerned about appearances and status. She broke off. But are you sure? It's your special day. Grandma, Jason stepped forward. What matters most to us is being with the people we love. I believe that true family bonds are more valuable than a fancy venue. Eleanor slowly stood up and took an old photo frame from atop the piano. This is a photo from my wedding. It was a black and white photograph of a young Eleanor and her husband laughing on church steps. It was shortly after the war, and we couldn't have much of a ceremony. Just the church and the neighborhood meeting hall. But it was enough to have the two of us and the people we loved. She handed the photo to Olivia. I'm proud of your decision. Just as Olivia was about to speak, Eleanor began to cough violently. Jason quickly offered her water, but the coughing continued for several minutes. Grandma, are you all right? Olivia asked worriedly. Yes, just an old woman's cough, Eleanor smiled, but her face was pale. Have you spoken with Dr. Grayson? Olivia nodded. He hasn't told me much yet. Grandma, is there something you're hiding? Eleanor gazed out the window. Cherry blossom petals were dancing in the wind. Olivia, will you promise me something? Don't worry about me. Seeing your happy day is my last wish. Anxiety spread through Olivia's heart. Last? What are you saying? Eleanor smiled gently. Just a figure of speech. Now, let's prepare for the wedding. My old wedding dress should still be in the closet. She changed the subject, but Olivia's worry didn't disappear. As she was leaving, Olivia left Eleanor's room to meet with Dr. Grayson. With a growing sense of foreboding, she was ready to learn the truth about her grandmother's condition. The gentle May sunshine warmed the courtyard at Silver Meadows. The wisteria flowers on the pergola cast a soft purple light as they swayed in the breeze. Chairs were arranged neatly around the garden, decorated with white ribbons and wildflowers. The main lounge had been transformed over the course of a day. Thin organza fabric hung from the ceiling in wave-like patterns, and seasonal flowers were arranged by the windows. The residents had been excitedly looking forward to the wedding being held at their facility since morning. Eleanor, I can't believe this day has come, Marion Wilson said as she entered Eleanor's room. She was an old friend of Eleanor's and now lived in the neighboring room at Silver Meadows. Look at this, Eleanor pointed to a wedding dress spread out on the bed. I wore this at my wedding. It's a bit old-fashioned, but I think it will suit Olivia. The vintage dress made of lace and satin had a simple yet elegant appearance. Marion sighed. Your granddaughter is special. To hold her wedding here at the nursing home for her grandmother. Eleanor smiled, but there was pain mixed in her expression. 2 weeks had passed since Dr. Grayson's diagnosis. It was terminal pancreatic cancer, with little hope for effective treatment. She had asked him not to tell her son or daughter, and only Olivia knew the truth. I'm running out of time, Eleanor said quietly, gazing out the window. But it's enough just to see today. In one of the facility's rooms, Olivia was looking at herself in the mirror, wearing her grandmother's wedding dress. Beside her, her best friend Laura was making small adjustments. Grandma Eleanor's dress fits you amazingly well, Laura remarked. She says I'm the same size she was at my age, Olivia smiled. But I'm worried about whether Mom and Catherine will come. Just then, there was a knock at the door, and Jason's mother Mary peeked in. Oh, how beautiful. She put her hand to her chest. Jason is a lucky man. Thank you, Mary, Olivia smiled. What about Victoria and Catherine? They just arrived, Mary's expression clouded slightly. To be honest, they don't look very happy, but let's be grateful they came at all. Olivia nodded. She couldn't convince her mother and sister, but their presence was better than nothing. It's about to begin, Mary said gently. Jason's colleagues are waiting in their formal attire. When Olivia entered the lounge, she gasped. It had been transformed into a space more beautiful than she had imagined. The decorations created by the facility's staff and residents had a warmth that rivaled any luxury wedding venue. About 50 guests were seated. Jason's family and friends, along with his colleagues from the fire station, were lined up, with the men forming a row in their uniforms. Surprisingly, all the residents of Silver Meadows were dressed in their best clothes and participating. Some were in wheelchairs, but all were looking at her with bright faces. And in the front row sat Eleanor, radiating a timeless elegance in her light blue dress with beautifully styled hair. Next to her were Victoria and Catherine, with clearly displeased expressions. Both were dressed in luxury brand clothing, but their opulence seemed out of place. The music began to play, and Jason's father Charles took Olivia's arm. "Olivia, from today, you are our daughter," he said kindly. Olivia held back tears as she began to walk down the aisle. As she passed her grandmother, Eleanor gently waved, tears in her eyes. The ceremony proceeded with simplicity yet solemnity. The chaplain of Silver Meadows officiated, and Olivia and Jason exchanged their vows of love. Jason's self-written vows brought many attendees to tears. "Olivia, you are someone who measures a person's worth by love and compassion, not by money or social status. I feel immeasurable happiness to be walking through life by your side." After the vows were exchanged and the couple shared their first kiss as husband and wife, applause and congratulations echoed throughout the room. Eleanor stood up and clapped with trembling hands. "That concludes the photo session," the photographer announced. After the ceremony, photographs were taken in the lounge and courtyard. Group photos with all the residents, pictures with Jason's colleagues from the fire station, and family photos. "Now, everyone from the Hartwell family, please gather here." Olivia and Jason, Eleanor, and reluctantly, Victoria and Catherine, came together. As the photographer positioned his camera, Victoria muttered under her breath, "I can't show these photos to anyone." "Right?" Catherine agreed. "If I showed my friends a wedding at a nursing home, they'd laugh at me." Olivia said nothing, just tightly gripped Jason's hand. "Smile, please," the photographer called out. Just as the camera flashed, Victoria said in a sarcastic tone, "It's too pathetic to tell anyone about. If we posted this, it would be called a poverty wedding," Catherine chuckled softly. Olivia couldn't hide her hurt expression. At that moment, Eleanor stepped forward and took Olivia's hand. "Olivia, I'm so happy to see you in your wedding dress." Her voice was soft, but those nearby could hear. "I'm glad I lived to see this." Tears fell from Eleanor's eyes. Her words, though simple, touched the hearts of everyone present, except Victoria and Catherine. The other attendees were moved to tears. Eleanor slowly embraced Olivia. The scene portrayed the beauty of family bonds that transcended time. One of Jason's colleagues was capturing the moment on his phone. "What a beautiful moment," he smiled. "May I post this on social media?" Olivia thought for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, of course." The morning sun shone through the apartment window, bathing Olivia's bedroom in a golden hue. She recalled how exhausted she had been last night, falling asleep with barely any memory of it. Next to her in bed, Jason was still asleep. The morning light reflected off his face and the wedding ring newly placed on his finger sparkled. Olivia quietly slipped out of bed and brewed coffee in the kitchen. She was concerned about her grandmother Eleanor's condition. Eleanor had looked tired toward the end of the ceremony and retired to her room early. Just as Olivia was planning to visit her early this morning, her smartphone began to ring repeatedly. More than 20 messages from Laura. Olivia stared at the screen in surprise. She had unread messages not only from her best friend but also from several acquaintances and work colleagues. There were even names she didn't recognize. What happened? Opening her smartphone, the first message from Laura appeared. "Olivia. Everyone's talking about you. Look at this video." When she opened the attached link, it was a video of the wedding taken by Jason's colleague Mike. The title read, "The most moving wedding held at a nursing home for grandmother," and it had already been viewed more than 350,000 times. The video began with the scene of their family photo session. Victoria's words, "It's too pathetic to tell anyone about," and Catherine's sarcastic laugh, "It would be called a poverty wedding," were clearly recorded. Then it continued to Eleanor's moving words, I'm glad I lived to see this." The comments section was filled with thousands of responses. "This is true love." "Applause for the bride who knows what's more important than materialistic family." "I can't stop crying at the grandmother's words." "I feel angry at the mother and sister's attitude. It makes me think about what true family values are." Scrolling further, Olivia discovered that Mike's post had been picked up by multiple news sites and TV programs. Headlines like, "A love story transcending generations," and "A touching moment that questions the true meaning of marriage," were prominent. As Olivia stared at the screen in amazement, Jason came out of the bedroom. "Good morning, wife," he smiled, but his tone changed when he noticed Olivia's surprised expression. "What's wrong?" "Our wedding seems to have gone viral." Jason took a sip of coffee while peering over Olivia's shoulder at the screen. "Wow, that's an incredible number. But what Mom and Catherine said too." Before she could finish, her smartphone rang. The screen displayed, "Mom." Olivia took a deep breath before answering. "Olivia. Have that video deleted immediately." Victoria's voice was distraught. "My real estate office is being flooded with angry messages. Clients are even canceling contracts." "Good morning, Mom," Olivia responded calmly. "I can't delete it. Besides, tens of thousands of people have already seen it. Do something. Catherine is in an even worse situation. Her Instagram is overwhelmed with terrible comments. Sponsors are contacting her. Catherine's crying could be heard from the other end of the phone. We're coming over right now. Do something about this." Before the call ended, the doorbell rang. Olivia and Jason exchanged glances as it rang again. When Jason opened the door, Victoria and Catherine stood there. Both looked flustered, unlike their usually perfect appearance, and Catherine's eyes were swollen from crying. "Come in," Olivia led them to the living room. "Have the video deleted." Catherine cried out. "My career is ruined. 3 brands have said they're terminating their sponsorship contracts." "I haven't done anything," Olivia answered quietly. "Mike posted only the truth. Exactly what you said." "But that was..." Victoria faltered. "That was just, in the heat of the moment." "In the heat of the moment?" Jason frowned. "You said things that ruined Olivia's special day." Catherine pleaded tearfully, "Please, sis. Stop this from spreading any further. My life is falling apart." At that moment, Olivia's smartphone rang again. It was from an unknown number. "Is this Mrs. Olivia Carter?" a deep, calm male voice asked. "This is Jonathan Winters, Eleanor Fisher's attorney." Olivia stood up straight in surprise. "Yes, this is she. After yesterday's wedding, Eleanor contacted me about changing her will. As it was an urgent matter, I visited Silver Meadows late last night and completed the necessary procedures." "Her will?" Olivia's voice trembled. "Yes. I would like to discuss the details with you in person, but there is something I should tell you first." Mr. Winters paused for a moment. "Eleanor had far greater assets than your family might have imagined." Olivia sat down heavily. Jason stood worriedly by her side. "What do you mean?" "In her youth, Eleanor obtained several patents, which have generated substantial income over the years. She also increased her assets through wise investments," Mr. Winters continued. "Last night, Eleanor changed her will and named you as the primary heir." Olivia gasped. Her mother and sister were also listening to the conversation, and their expressions changed dramatically. Furthermore, the will includes the establishment of a fund to support special days at nursing homes. You have also been appointed as the manager of this fund." "I don't understand," Olivia was confused. "I am scheduled to meet with Eleanor at Silver Meadows this afternoon. If it's convenient for you, I can explain the details there." "Yes, of course." After hanging up, the room fell silent. Victoria and Catherine stared at Olivia as if they had seen a ghost. Mother was wealthy. Victoria's voice was small. Olivia shrugged. I don't know either. And you? Catherine was at a loss for words. I'm going to Silver Meadows right now. Olivia stood up. I want to see Grandma. Jason said quietly, let's go together. As they headed for the door, Victoria called out, we're coming too. Olivia turned back and looked at her mother and sister. Their faces showed a mixture of confusion, regret, and calculation. For years, you've looked down on me. Olivia's voice was controlled. My job, my values, my choices. This morning, you rushed over worried about your reputations. But as soon as money is mentioned, your attitude changes. Olivia, that's. Think about what makes a real family, Olivia continued. Grandma summoned her last strength for my wedding. I think true love is about things like that, not appearances or social status. Olivia opened the door. You can come along. But only after you understand what truly matters. Spring breeze blew down the street, scattering cherry blossom petals. Olivia and Jason headed toward Silver Meadows, with Victoria and Catherine's footsteps quietly following behind. Upon arriving at Silver Meadows, Dr. Grayson was waiting for them in the lobby. His expression carried a quiet sadness. Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep last night. Olivia's world stopped. She was at a loss for words at the news of grief coming just one day after the joy of her wedding. Jason drew her close, his arm around her shoulders. She looked happy, Dr. Grayson continued. She was lucid until the end and kept saying, it was a perfect day. Victoria shed tears for the first time. Despite her complicated relationship with her mother, the death had seemingly left a large hole in her heart. She asked me to give you this. The doctor handed over an envelope. Olivia's name was written in her grandmother's elegant handwriting. Attorney Winters was already waiting in the conference room. He carefully explained Eleanor's will. The assets, patents, investments, real estate, amounted to several $1 million, far exceeding expectations. Half would go to establish the Eleanor Memorial Foundation, while the majority of the remainder was bequeathed to Olivia. Victoria and Catherine also received small inheritances, but with the condition of giving them time to realize true value. After the meeting, Olivia opened her grandmother's letter. To my beloved Olivia. Words cannot express how proud I am of you. You have always treasured richness of heart and kindness. There is a truth you don't know. When Victoria was young and struggling financially, she tried to put you up for adoption. I stopped her and secretly supported your upbringing. I made her promise to keep it a secret. I also hid my finances. I knew that money can distort human bonds and values. You were different. You always had an eye for what truly matters. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to have your wedding at Silver Meadows. You gave the greatest gift to me, knowing my end was near. Use this inheritance to live true to yourself. And if possible, please forgive Victoria and Catherine. They have simply become trapped in the wrong values. With eternal love. Grandma. Wiping away tears, Olivia looked out the window. The cherry tree her grandmother had cherished swayed in the wind. She looked at Victoria and Catherine and held out the letter. 3 months later, the opening ceremony for the Eleanor Memorial Foundation was held. The fund not only supported special events for the elderly but also provided programs to strengthen intergenerational bonds. Victoria had withdrawn from the real estate business and begun a new path as a trustee of the foundation. Catherine had also renewed her social media activities, starting to share content themed around what's more important than appearances. Olivia and Jason visited Silver Meadows and installed a memorial bench for Eleanor under the cherry tree. A small plaque was attached to the bench. I'm glad I lived to see this, Eleanor Fisher. Those words, which began as the last wish of an elderly woman, have now become a symbol that resonates in the hearts of many people. They teach us that true wealth is not the figures in a bank account, but the memories of love that remain in people's hearts.